And how to tackle mob violence during practice. There are different types of laws which include criminal law, civil law, Consumer Protection Act and other laws. Criminal law involves mens rea, and without mens rea there is no crime. These are certain relevant sections of IPC which are relevant to us. I will not go into details of this. I will go into section 304, which is culpable homicide not amounting to murder. This is acts done with intention to cause death or acts done with the knowledge that this will lead to death. But 304A is important for us because this is the section which is applicable to us. This is death by rash and negligent act not amounting to murder. Civil law involves law of contract and law of torts. Law of contract involves contract. Contract is any agreement between two parties to do or not to do certain things. Doctor treats patients and patient has to pay a fees. Doctor may refuse to accept the contract except in emergencies, and liability starts only after the emergency treatment has been given. But if patient refuses to pay, only remedy is civil suit. Law of tort involves Consumer Protection Act, and this says that doctor has certain duties towards the patient which involve proper history examination, diligent care, to explain all the facts, average and recent knowledge of equipments and your subject, able to foresee complications and treat them, and to maintain proper records. Breach of any of these duties is negligence. Consumer Protection Act will be dealt by another speaker in detail, but it was enacted for protection of interests of consumers, but it has been applicable on the doctors now. These are consumer courts, district forum, state forum and national forum. What is medical negligence? It is an act of commission or omission. It is defined by Bolam test, which says that failure to act in accordance with the standards of average prudent medical man at that time and place. Time and place is important because care is different at different places. It is different in super specialty hospital and it is different in a remote village. A reasonable degree of skill and care involves doing something which a doctor of average prudence does not do, or not doing something which he does. Examples of negligence involve no or invalid consent, going beyond his skills or qualification, not taking routine precautions, and res ipsa loquitur. Res ipsa loquitur means things speaks for itself, like this. After surgery, if you leave instrument, this is res ipsa loquitur. And for medical negligence, what is important is causa causans, that is, the negligence must be proximate to the cause, not remote. And when a patient files a case, burden of proof lies on the patient to prove this. But if doctor puts some defense, he has to prove it. For example, valid consent, one of the accepted methods. Now, defenses for the doctor to avoid suits. Number one is records, which is very important. Proper and update, valid informed consents, voluntary non-fit injuria, that means after giving voluntary consent, no action can be taken for injury. Therapeutic privilege, error of judgment and contributory negligence. Now another thing is vicarious liability. Generally, doctor is liable for his own acts, but he may be held liable for the acts done by his unqualified staff. But if staff is professionally qualified, then for their own torts they are responsible. There is no negligence in morbidity or mortality per se, error of judgment, choosing one of the several methods, failure of result by itself. Consent is when two or more persons agree upon the same thing in the same sense. It should be voluntary, free from coercion, and knowledge of implications. Types of consents are implied and express. Express can be oral and written. Written consent is must for major diagnostic procedures like intimate examinations, general anesthesia, surgical operations, and medico-legal cases. Informed consents, in which doctor gives all relevant information of the disease and treatment to the patient in the language which he can understand, about the diagnosis, nature of treatment, risk involved, prospects of success, prognosis of the procedure, and alternate methods of treatment. One may exceed his consent. For example, in exceptional cases during operation, a surgeon may cross limits to save the life or organ of the patient. Proxy consent is from parents or close relatives of the child mentally unsound patient or unconscious patient. Consent is not required in emergency, notifiable diseases, immigrants, members of armed forces, new admissions to prisons, and request by police for examination. Now these things we have to avoid. Advertising, printing of self-photograph, running a medical shop, commission, euthanasia, sex determination, and false medical certificates. Examination of females is very important. It's section 53(2) of CRPC states that it can be done only by or under supervision of a female doctor or in presence of a female attendant, even if the patient is a minor girl or an older lady. Expert opinion is very important in medical legal cases. In this case, National Commission, in considering question of medical negligence, considered the fact that there was no expert evidence on behalf of the complainant. So this is a very important case because after this, expert opinion started in courts. When a patient asks for his case papers, the Bombay High Court has decided that it should be provided. There is a defensive medical practice that is not to help the patient but to avoid malpractice litigations. It is of two types, positive and negative. Positive is unnecessary tests and referrals and procedures. Negative is avoiding high-risk patients and procedures. This is the National Commission report in which states that doctors are required to take risks while performing their job, and merely because a patient dies to certain accidental eventualities, it does not establish deficiency in service or negligence on part of a doctor or hospital. This states doctor-patient relationship in very good manner. This is another case in which three important rights to doctors were given. First, police will not proceed without obtaining opinion from government doctors or medical council. Second, criminal courts also have to obtain a medical expert opinion. Third, police cannot arrest a doctor in a routine manner. Medical council adopted more powers, and a panel of medical council for negligence requires 3 medical, 1 judiciary, and 1 social activist. I have seen many cases of suspension of doctors by medical councils, especially in Delhi also, in which the council did not constituted the judiciary member. If any order is passed against you and the council does not involve any of these, you can go to court. There are certain prophylaxis to avoid suits. These are: you have to have some knowledge of law. Ignorance of law is no excuse. You should have indemnity insurance. You should be united and consult other doctors in complicated cases. Attend CMEs to refresh your knowledge. You should not have rough behavior or rude behavior with the patient. You should not give guarantee of results. You should not criticize your colleagues. You should not cross limits of your skill. You should not compromise with your findings. You should not leave your patient halfway. You should not give bogus certificate and should not do unnecessary tests and operations. But if you face a case, what you should do? You should notify the insurance company, update your records, collect evidences from literature, collect opinion of expert, discuss with lawyer, prepare the defense yourself, not by the lawyer, reply to legal notice in time. You should not be angry, upset or panicky, and you should not force the records, present any vague evidence. You should not miss any date of hearing and should not leave it only on lawyer, should not succumb to blackmail and take it lightly. If you lose the case, accept it gracefully, introspect, rebuild the practice, or consult lawyers, file an appeal, prepare a better defense. But if you win the case, don't jump with joy. Introspect why you got a case against you, compensate for loss of time, money and energy, learn from the case, educate others about it. What should doctors and nursing homes do to prevent and manage violence by patients and relatives? This at individual level, the Indian Medical Council Professional Conduct Etiquettes and Ethics Regulation 2002 should be strictly followed. It is given on the website of Medical Council of India. Keep liaison with local police, keep proper records, do not commit negligence, be knowledgeable in your subject and law, do not venture out of your area of work or expertise. What actions should be done by nursing homes and hospitals? A notice should be displayed at various places of the hospital which gives names and mobile numbers of the persons or doctors who will refer to the negligence or the grievance by the patients and available round the clock. Patients' grievance redressal committee should be made and time limit should be given. There should be a mechanism to supply a copy of medical records to the patients, and name and address of local Indian Medical Association, State Medical Council and District Consumer Forum should be displayed. They should display schedule of hospital charges, name, qualification, and phone numbers of all the consultants. They should buy a hospital professional indemnity policy through a legal risk cover company. They should organize collective nursing home defense mechanism through the local IMA. They should liaison with the police, organize joint seminars, round the clock security should be there, and out of this legal things you can have bullies also. Remember, litigation is much easier to handle with mob violence. We live in risk society. Low risk is zero risk. Keep proper records, which is very important. Doctors can take advances and deposits before surgery. Doctors can't keep patient in confinement for non-payment. And only criminal case can be filed only if grossly rash negligence causing death or serious injury occurs. Now there is a no fault insurance also available in other countries, in which compensation is paid with no fault by the doctor. There is no test or treatment which is 100% accurate. Unfortunate outcome can occur even with textbook treatment. Globally acceptable guidelines should be provided through which doctors should treat the patients, and doctors can then focus on evidence-based practice. Conclusion is this: doctors are no longer second god. A malpractice lawsuit is most harassing ordeal both emotionally and professionally. Try to settle the case out of the court as soon as possible and be united. Thank you.